Imagine starting your web design business, immediately booking yourself out with a whole bunch of clients months in advance, and then within just 2 years, bringing on a team of 7. Yes, 7 to help you with all the work that you have. That is exactly what my past Square Secrets business student, Carly, just did. I cannot wait for you to hear her story. I won't make you wait a second longer. Let's get right into it. Carly, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can you tell me, what were you doing before you became a website designer, and how did you have the idea to become a website designer?
So I got started in my business in September, October-ish of 2020 is when I started. I started my business after I got laid off from COVID, from my full-time job due to COVID. When I got laid off, my boss told me that she wanted to set up a call, and I thought she was setting up a call with me to give me a promotion because I'd been promised a promotion for 6 months and this backdated pay and all this stuff. And then she was like, we need to set up a call. Then she was like, you're laid off. And I was like, what? Oh my God. So it was in the middle of obviously the pandemic, and the job market was just a total dumpster fire. And so I was applying for like 40 jobs a day. I was writing all these crazy custom cover letters, and it was really exhausting. And then I didn't hear just anything back, like nothing. I would see these jobs on LinkedIn that said that it'd been posted 2 hours ago, and it was like 312 applicants. And I'm like, how in the world am I ever going to get my resume even seen by anybody? After like a month roughly of this nightmare of applying for jobs, I said, if nobody is going to hire me, then I will hire me. And I started a business, and I started off just offering virtual assistant services because I knew I could do that. I had a marketing background. I have a degree in marketing, and I'd been working in marketing. What I was mostly offering was social media management. I made a website for myself on Squarespace when I started by just looking at a bunch of YouTube videos. One of my clients, after I had started this sort of virtual assistant social media stuff, asked me if I could make her a website. She was like, yours looks so good. Could you make one for me? And I was like, probably. Like, I don't see why I couldn't do that. And so I made her a website, and I was not very good. And I really liked the sort of like that creative process. And so I started researching courses that I could take because I didn't know anything about website design. I stumbled across your course and loved it, implemented that for the next website design client that I have, and it sort of just kind of like took off from there. So I took your course in the beginning of 2021. I want to say like February, March timeframe was when I took the course. So, and it's been going great ever since.
You've done a really good job really quickly. That's fast. That's amazing. Can you talk about the thought process with like doing the website design as opposed to just virtual assistants?
When I started my business, I think I was charging like $20 or $30 an hour. Like I started the business because I needed to make money. I always thought, at least at the beginning, right when I started my business, I always thought that I was going to go back into the corporate world at some point. I wasn't one of those people that was like, day one, I'm going to do it and like screw corporate. I was like, I need to make money. Unfortunately, at the time that I got laid off was right at the time where in the US they dropped the unemployment package or whatever. People were getting like $800 a week for unemployment. And I got laid off right at the time they dropped it to $200 a week. So I was making $800 a month, and I was like, this is not enough money for me to do anything. I was offering, like I said, this virtual assistant stuff, $20 to $30 an hour. And then when I was researching websites and website packages, and I was seeing people charging like thousands of dollars to do websites. And I did not start at thousands of dollars. I think I did my first 6-page website for like $600. And I had no idea what I was doing. So it took me, I was probably making less than $20 an hour by the time the website was launched. That has very much changed now, but I really liked the creative process of doing the websites. I also liked when I gave this first client their website, they were so happy with how it looked. They were excited to be able to have this web presence that they felt proud of. They were excited to tell their friends and family and clients and all these people to come to their website because it looked so pretty. I didn't think the first one looked that pretty, but they were like, it looked so pretty, and we're like so happy. And so I really liked that feeling. I liked being able to complete this sort of project and then be done and move on to the next one. But also the cost of it, knowing that as I grew, I was going to be able to make way more money, even than I was in my corporate job, but that I currently was offering these $20 to $30 an hour things, played a huge factor in it as well.
Okay, yeah. Can you talk about that? So yeah, corporate salary, like you had no intentions to go be your own boss and everything. I feel like a lot of women can identify with that. It's like, oh, that sounds kind of scary to like be responsible for my own paycheck and everything.
Yeah.
But there is definitely significant potential when you're working for yourself versus in corporate. Can you talk about like pricing that you're charging your clients now, how that compares to like what you were making before in corporate?
Right now, we're charging about $3,500 for a 6-page website. It will likely go up in the very near future, as you should always continue to raise your rates as we get better and as we have just better designs and better processes and things like that. So right now we're charging $3,500 for a roughly 6-page website. The business now, I run an agency. So it's me, and then I'm sending out an offer letter for my 7th hire today.
Oh my
Yeah, so things have grown really fast, but so I'm super excited for that. So we're definitely like a full service agency. So in terms of what the agency brings in, probably like 8 or 9 times my corporate salary. So it's much higher. I am not making 8 or 9 times my corporate salary, as I have people to employ, as I am reinvesting in the business. I just paid a fat chunk of change to a lawyer to trademark my business name, give me custom contracts, all of this sort of stuff. So I'm always reinvesting in the business, but I also transitioned the business from an LLC. Well, I'm still an LLC, but now I'm taxed as an S Corp, which is also saving me a ton of money. But so I'm on a reasonable salary is how an S Corp works, for those that don't know. So I am a W-2 employee from my company. So I get a paycheck every month. I can take out more money if I want to, but what that paycheck is that I get is probably close to about double what my paycheck was as a corporate employee. But that doesn't mean that I'm only making double. Yeah. What the business has made, what's in the business savings account, is probably equal to about what my corporate salary was. So I've saved in about a year an equal amount to what my corporate salary was. I'm making way more, it feels like, and I have just the potential to continue to see that as the business grows and scales.
Okay, so 7 people in like a ridiculously short amount of time. So tell me about like, okay, so you started getting clients, clearly got a lot of clients because then you needed to be like hiring a lot of people. Can you talk about like from when you very first started, how long was it taking you to book yourself, or how far out in advance were you booked? And then when did you start realizing like, I need to bring on more people into this, like, and become an agency instead of like an individual designer?
I was offering like part website design, part social media. And then I was doing a little bit of like email marketing and stuff like that for some of our clients as sort of like catch-all digital marketing. So I took your course in the beginning of 2021. For a while, I considered myself like booked out, but in terms of the number of hours that I was working. But then as I just got faster at things, I was like, I can take on more clients now. And so middle of 2021 is when I had a little bit of a pivot in my business. After I took the website design course and I was getting all this great feedback on my websites, I just told everybody that I was doing websites. And so a lot of my clients for website design came from just people that I knew. I was posting on LinkedIn, on my personal Facebook page. One of my clients was a friend's wedding, and the guy that I was paired with walked down the aisle. I did his website for his business because we were like chatting right before we were walking down. He's like waiting for work. I was like, I design websites. And he said, I just started a bartending business and I need a website. I'm like, well, we'll chat.
We'll chat after we get down this aisle.
Yeah. So I just started telling everybody. So a lot of my clients came from just like people that I knew, or I did a website for an old coworker's mom. Like just people started referring me out to other places. So the website design business grew really fast, and the social media side of the business really started growing alongside of that. I hired on someone in the middle to end of 2021. I felt very burnt out in terms of the number of hours that I was working every week. So I first outsourced the engagement side of social media management because that was something that I felt like I could give up control over, because I'm like a major control freak, very type A. I gave up that. I felt okay giving up control over this aspect of it. And I found someone that in terms of what I was charging as an hourly rate, I could pay someone less of an hourly rate to do this engagement. And then that opened up time for me to take on more clients at the hourly rate that I was charging. So I brought on that person. She was with me for the end of 2021. And then in 2022 has been when things for me have just like exploded in growth. So I brought on a content and social media manager at the very, very beginning of 2022. Then I brought on another content and social media manager. I have the engagement specialist, a social media specialist who does a lot of admin type work for us. I have a digital strategist who does a lot of our paid ads, analytics on Google Analytics, Google Ads, email marketing analytics. He's like our analytics dude. So he's on the team now. And then I just hired a digital designer that I found from your beautiful Facebook group. And the next person I'm going to be hiring out is this content social media manager, because we just, as an agency, we have a lot of social media retainer digital marketing clients. So that is always the position that will continue as we gain more clients that we'll continue to need to hire for. So we have a pretty good, well-rounded team. But most of the, other than that engagement specialist, all of those people have come on in 2022.
Amazing. Well done. Well done. Like, that is insane to go from like starting a business because you got laid off, taking the course at the beginning of 2021, and then like 2 years, we're not even at 2 years yet, and you literally have 7 people. Would you ever have imagined that like this current situation would be a reality like 2 years later? Did you ever think like you could run a business, let alone like manage a team?
I have management experience in the past of managing teams, and that's something that I always really liked doing. When I first started my business, I was, like I said, I just need to make money. Like, let me just make some money until the job market cools down, and then I will go back into the workforce. As things grew, I was like, maybe I could get back into the management thing at some point, like in 5 years, I could like hire somebody. So no, I think in the back of my head, it was like a thought that I had, but I never thought it would actually become a reality. My mom always told me that I should start a business like my whole life. She's like, you and your siblings should start a business together. You guys would be so great at owning a business. I'm like, whatever, mom. But here we are. One of my digital strategists is in fact my brother.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He's like a part of the team. And so it's really great to like see some of those things. So I don't know, I guess my mom always was right, you know.
I'll admit it.
But yeah, I never thought I would get here this quickly. And I think that, like I said, part of me maybe always like thought that I could, but not like the active part of my brain of like what I was working towards.
So let's talk about, you decided to take Square Secrets and /Square Secrets business.
Yes.
Can you talk about like what was the factors in you deciding like, I need to take these things, and were they helpful for building what you have now?
So I had like no idea what I was doing. I didn't know I have a marketing degree, but I don't know anything about design or like graphic design or graphic design best practices. I knew the basics of like, this is how you add a block onto Squarespace, because I YouTubed it and watched some free videos, you know, but I didn't know any sort of like strategy behind website designs, writing copy, the actual, everything I learned in Square Secret business, like I literally no idea any of that. So when I was looking for courses to take, yours obviously stuck out because it was exactly what I needed. It was the understanding the design, understanding how to use Squarespace, understanding how to like see different websites and different elements of websites that you liked and how to be able to create those in Squarespace. Because when I first started deciding that I wanted to do website design and deciding what platform I wanted to design on, everyone's like, Squarespace sucks. Like, you can't create these beautiful designs. You should use WordPress. And I was like, I attempted to use WordPress, and I don't think I ever even like started anything. I was on their dashboard and I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. This is horrible. I'm going back to Squarespace. So I like that your course, you know, shows all these websites. This is exactly how you can make this section of the website. How you can build it on Squarespace, and it will look exactly the same. You know, you can make the websites that you want in Squarespace to look the way that you want them to. So that was super helpful to me. And then the entire business side, like I said, of everything from this is how you can get content from your client, all the content planners, the ideal client avatar exercise really changed like my business, because we use not that exact thing, but a very similar process in onboarding all of our clients, because that's something that I feel like is missed so much, not only on websites, but in just marketing in general, is not feeling like it's speaking or connecting or attracting the right people. Everything that I learned in the entire course was exactly what I needed. And I liked your course versus anybody else's that I was looking at taking, because like you did it. You know what I mean? You started from an area that I felt was like a beginner when you started your business. That's where I was at, was a beginner level. And I was like, Paige built this business. She knows all these things. Like, she's done it. She's not just has done a couple sites and is let me teach you how to do things. Like, you have the trial and error side of it done. And like I said, the bundle of the 2 courses, I was like sold.
Tell me about, had you done any client website builds before you taken Square Secrets business and then after, and like how did that process with your clients like compare?
I did one, and it was so bad. I mean, it was fine. It was my very first ever client who I actually still work with to this day. And so they had been wanting a website for a while. They had someone like build out these like wireframes and mock-ups for a website, but they had never actually done anything. So they sent me those. So that was helpful in knowing the layout that they wanted, what the different pages they wanted, where what was going to go on the different pages. And theirs was an easier sort of website to build. They run a very successful YouTube business. By very successful, I mean like they have 3 million subscribers. So like they are doing it on YouTube. So for what they needed for a website was more just to have like a presence online, for them to have a place people could come to, not necessarily like learn about them, but to like buy merch. They have their YouTube feed, like they have an about page, but it's nothing. They have like a media kit on there for partnerships and stuff like that. So it wasn't that big, and I didn't need to really like sell anybody on it, because nobody's gonna find this guy through a Google search and like want to watch his videos. Like that just isn't how he would be found. He'd be found through, it would be a fan or a subscriber that would already know him, who would then come to the website. The process of getting things from them, but even in terms of what I was gonna write on it, I relied on them a lot to do that, because they already had this wireframe. But if I had to think of that on my own, I mean, it would have been rough. But things are much smoother.
Yeah. Talk about now, like, how do you find like managing projects now that you've taken the courses and you're like, okay, I know what I actually should be doing now?
It sort of runs itself. Like, I have a really good process and system of the things that you sort of taught us how to do. I broke them out into these 4 pre-designed phases. So it's like phase 1, you complete this, phase 2, you complete this, phase 3, phase 4. When they sign on, they're told exactly how you explain in your course that you have to complete all of the phases prior to the design date. Otherwise you lose your deposit, and then you have to rebook. And then in the back end of our process, they get an email with all of the pre-designed phases. It has way more information on what they can expect in each phase, and then a suggested deadline for when they should complete that phase. I check in with them at every deadline that I give them, and we have templated emails that get sent out. So it's really simple to be able to do that. It also lets me check in mostly on the content planners, that they have complete sentences, like that they look and sound like what we'll need to then start doing some of like the copy editing that we do for them. So the process of it is really streamlined, and it makes it really simple for us. We have a couple of checks here and there before their design date, but it's pretty minor, especially with all the extra information we give them in our kickoff call and all that sort of stuff. So it runs itself so smoothly now. We've never ever had a client that's needed to rebook. We've never ever had a project that has gone late ever. To follow the process, like I said, exactly like what you said, it's like exactly what I've wanted to happen. All of my clients find it to be really helpful and valuable and beneficial as well.
And so can you talk about, do you do one client at a time, or now you have a team? Are you doing like multiple projects at the same time? How does that look?
So right now we're still only doing one at a time. The digital designer that I hired is handling those websites for us. So it used to be me doing all the websites, managing a team of 6, handling all of our social media clients, and it was just like way too much for me. So we're still only doing one at a time. That process has worked really well for us to be able to keep track of everybody. And I liked the one at a time process when I was doing the websites, because I could never, like, my brain needed one thing to focus on. Like, I couldn't have a fitness coach and then like a software business. I'm like, these are so different. I can't like compartmentalize these 2 things. I just need to have all of my time and energy focused on one. And my clients, when I tell them that on consultation calls, they love that. They love to hear that there's one at a time. They love to hear that like they are our focus. They have our undivided attention. We will reply to their emails pretty much immediately if they have a question come through, but they know also that it's not going to look like somebody else's, because we're also working on another one. So we're still doing one at a time. As the business grows, and as I don't know, maybe hire on another designer in the future, I don't know, we'll obviously start doing multiple. But I think that having one designer work on one at a time just makes the most sense for us.
You're booking a lot of clients these days. Can you talk about like how far in advance have you been booked in the past? Do you just keep booking out in the future? Do you start a wait list?
Right now, I have 2 proposals out that will get us booked through the end of the year. So we're recording this video in September. So it is, we're pretty much booked through the end of the year. I would be shocked if these 2 clients didn't sign on. We're usually booked about 3 months in advance. We had a pause on accepting new retainers, social media, email marketing, paid ad clients for a while because I just couldn't keep up with it. And so I put on our website, like, we're not accepting new clients. So we didn't get a lot of inquiries from that. We still were booking websites. It was a lot of our retainer clients that we have that wanted to redo their website. So because they already worked with us, I was like, yes, we will put you on the list whenever in the future, we can do this. From my experience, I think that most people that want a website, at least the size of the businesses that we work with, which are these small businesses, usually they're a team of 1, 2, maybe 3 people. I feel like they always want things much quicker. And so I think that for people who, we've never been booked more than 3 months in advance, because I think that if we were, they would go find somebody else. Like, they wouldn't be interested in waiting 3 months to have a online presence. They want it, like next month or in 2 months. So I think that 3-month time frame has been really good for us. It gives all of our clients plenty of time to be able to complete all of these pre-design phases. So that makes it easy too. Like I said, we've never had someone not do it, but it's because they have so much time to get it done. So that has helped us to keep things on track because we have this pipeline, and then people just, like I said, sort of book on the next date. So 3 months is about how long we have. We've never had a wait list, but we've also never really needed one, I guess.
Totally. Yep. Tell me about, what is it like to be your own boss? If you were talking to old Carly who was in corporate life, like, how would you describe that to her? What is it like to actually work for yourself?
I love it. I do think that it's not for everybody. I personally love working for myself. I'm very self-motivated. And so that makes it really easy for me to set an alarm and get up at 8 a.m. every day, and not sleep until noon because there's no one to hold me accountable if I'm doing things. I'm excited to get up. I love all the clients that we work with. It also feels really good to get this praise from clients. Like, we've had several, when we do our presentations of the website, of the draft, most times we'll do those through a Zoom call. So we'll show them the website as we scroll through it to talk about certain design elements that we want and things like that. And I've had several clients cry on those calls because they're so happy with how their website looks. And they're like, I cannot wait for this to be launched and live. And those things is what makes me feel so good about what I'm doing. I feel very fulfilled in helping these small business owners sort of reach their dreams too. But I also like being able to set my own schedule. I like being able to take my dog on a walk in the middle of the day. I like being able to go into doctor's appointments whenever I need them. For me, it feels like exactly where I'm supposed to be. In my corporate career, I was a job hopper, as everyone told me on my resume. I worked in marketing, then in operations, then back to marketing, then to sales, then customer service, then to training. And I worked in HR. I've worked for 4 companies, but I was always promoted in all those companies. But a lot of times it was being promoted or applying for a promotion in a different department. So everyone was like, you're a job hopper. You've never done the same job, blah, blah. But everything that I have learned from all of those jobs is what has made me be so successful in the business. I have the sales side, which is how you get new clients. I have the marketing side, which is what we do as a business. I have the customer service side, which is so important in retaining clients and even just in finding new clients. I have the training side, which we do a lot of training with the new websites because we do a 1-hour training call, as well as training the team. I have HR experience, which has been very helpful in building a team. So I feel I had this weird sort of epiphany moment of feeling exactly where I am supposed to be in my life. So I love being my own boss. It's been such a blessing. I never thought that getting laid off and having to live with my mom at the age of 30 would ever be a blessing, but it was a humongous blessing.
That's amazing. I think that's so nice that you say that. I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, because I do know that there's a lot of people who are our age and then they're just like, this is not what I wanted for my life. And yeah, I've also been very lucky to be I've finished school, started this online thing, also kind of at a not so enjoyable experience of being like, I moved to a country, I have no job options. But yeah, it turned out really well in the end. And yeah, I'm so happy for you that you say that.
Yeah, it definitely has been challenging. I think that people always see stuff on social media of like, we grew this great business, and I post that stuff too, but there's such like another side of the imposter syndrome. Whenever I lose a client, I usually like take the rest of the day off and cry, because I am like, it's really hard. And there's a lot of really, really hard parts of the business too, but the positives way outweigh the negatives. This is like a sort of way tangent, but I have this chronic digestive disease that wreaks havoc on my life sometimes. And when I was working at this corporate job, they were not very understanding of it. It's like an invisible disease. Like I look totally healthy. You wouldn't know that how I look right now. I was hospitalized for 5 days last month. Like it doesn't look like that. And so in my corporate job, like I said, they just like were not very understanding. I would have to go once a month and get this medication, which is an infusion. So you go to the hospital, they stick an IV in your arm and they pump you full of medicine. And I had to do that once a month to sort of like keep my disease at bay. And this company made me take PTO for it every time I had to go. I would try and schedule them as early in the morning as I could so that I would get there on time. They also make me feel like super sluggish, but I would only be gone for like maximum of 2 hours, half hour to the doctor's appointment, hour there, half hour back. And they would make me take 2 hours of PTO or of sick time. And then I was like, could I just stay later? Yeah. And they were like, no, because the perception is that you were gone for 2 hours. Nobody knows that you're staying 2 hours later because everybody is left. So the perception is just that you're not working for 2 hours. And so it was just like such a toxic environment to be in. And so now it's nice that I have not only the understanding of like myself and being able to give myself the time off and not feeling bad about when I can schedule these doctor's appointments or these medications, or even being in the hospital for 5 days. I was like, everything's still going to run fine. Like things are going to be fine. And all my clients that I talked to about it were so unbelievably understanding. And so from that side of it as well, it has just made my like mental health a lot better, to be able to feel like I can really take care of my physical health in the way that I need to, and that I am the most understanding boss.
I feel like I probably know the answer to this, but I will ask it anyways. Do you have any intention of going back to corporate, or are you happy doing your own thing?
I mean, okay, I would never say never. I think if an opportunity that I couldn't pass up presented itself, I would say yes. I have no idea what an opportunity would look like for me to give up what I have right now. I can't even think of what it would look like, but I never want to say never, because you just never know. But for what I'm doing right now, I'm super happy with how things have been going. And I feel, this is like super cheesy, I feel like so proud of myself, which like I said, I have got a lot of crap for this job hopper stuff that I did, but I was always promoted. Like I was the top performer in all these things. And now I feel so much more proud of what I'm doing than any time that I was like a top performer, MVP on the team, whatever. I feel so much more proud of where I am. And I feel so proud of how far I've come in my professional career and in my personal life. Like since I've started this business, when I first started, people were like, what do you do for work? And I was like, I like work online. And now I'm like, I own a digital marketing agency. And people are like, oh, you're a freelancer? I was like, no, I'm not a freelancer.
I'm a business owner.
Yeah, don't get it twisted. I've never been like proud to tell people like what I do and who I do it for. And I never felt excited to talk about work like in social circles. And I feel really excited to do that now. So
okay, so another thing which I love about your story is how you very recently seriously booked yourself out and then therefore hired team and everything. Every single year that it comes to like a new enrollment of Square Secrets business, people are like, oh, well, like, is it too late to become a designer? Is it oversaturated? Yeah. What's your opinion on that?
I think that, no, I don't think it's oversaturated. And I think that there are so many new businesses that are popping up. Like so many people are leaving their corporate jobs. I mean, you see it on like TikTok and Instagram all the time, like people quitting the 9-to-5, which is definitely not for everybody. And even if someone wanted to do this alongside their 9-to-5 and have this be a sort of side hustle, there's still a ton of opportunity. But there are so many new businesses that are continuing to come to light. There's all these new, as the virtual assistant social media manager, website designer. As that business grows, there's more business coaches that become available or that need to sort of like come out of the woods to offer those types of services. I work with a couple of CPG clients, and there's just like always new brands there. People are moving so much more into the online space now than ever before, a lot of which is due to COVID, but there's just businesses popping up all the time, similar to like these website designer businesses. When there's a new website designer, there's probably going to be a new virtual assistant that's needed for the website designer. So I don't think it's oversaturated at all. I think there's more competition, but I don't think that it's oversaturated. I think that you have to find like your niche, what makes you different and why people want to work with you versus anybody else, and then sort of sell that. But I think that there is a ton of opportunity.
My final question for you. What would you say to someone who's on the fence about taking one of my courses? What would your advice or thoughts be to that person?
I think that your course paid for itself in like 2 websites. Like, I think I recouped the cost of what I invested, and that was a year and a half ago. Since then, we've done, I think we're up to like 30 websites or almost 40 websites that we've done at this point. And so we've like well recouped the investment. And that was the hardest part for me when I was starting my business, was anything over $10 seemed like, how am I going to pay for this? Because I don't have any clients and I don't have any money. And so I had built up enough to be able to invest in the course. And like I said, it was the best decision that I made for the business. There's no way my website design business would have grown even a fraction of how it has if I hadn't taken that course. I would have been, I mean, it would have taken way longer. And then I would have been missing out on all this great business growth that I've seen since. So it really kickstarted the website design. And like I said, for me, the biggest thing was the investment of being able to make it. And it has 15 times over paid for itself. And it will continue to, as we continue to grow and as I hire on more designers to the team who are going to be following the same process. It helped us so much, and it made it really easy now to be able to hire on people to be able to follow that, because it's so crystal clear as to what that process is. And then once the website design actually starts, what that process is, like I said, it makes it really easy for me and for the designer and for the client. So for anyone that is on the fence about it, if it's a monetary thing, don't be worried about it. If it's a what you're going to learn thing, I mean, I didn't know anything before I started, so I learned all of the things. But I think and I had done a website too. It's not like I was a complete newbie to Squarespace, but I learned so much. I mean, I still have my notebook that is just packed with Square Secrets notes that I will still refer back to, or I'll still watch little sections of the modules if I am looking to design a certain thing a certain way, or to just refresh something. Or this business course has so many great modules too that I will revisit if I need it. So from what I learned to what the investment was, it was one of the best decisions I've made for my business.
Isn't that incredible? Carly truly killed it. I'm so proud of her. If you want to take the same path which Carly took, then if you're watching this video right when it goes live, and I mean right when it goes live, then you still do have like a day to get into my Profitable and Productive Web Designer Bootcamp. It is completely free. It is happening live. So again, if you're watching this right when it comes out, click the link in the description below and see if you can still save yourself a seat. No matter if you have no web design experience, no coding experience, this bootcamp is going to show you the first steps to getting started being a website designer just like Carly. And if you're wondering, once you book all those projects, how you really increase the value of them and get them to maybe like $11,500 a project, then definitely watch this video next with my past student Lindsay, where she shares exactly how she is doing just that.